And I wanted also to say that I represent Arhipelago, an organization dedicated to fostering international collaboration, business growth, and knowledge sharing between Romania and global markets. And also, I wanted to say that India is actually one of the most dynamic and rapidly evolving IT ecosystems in the world, offering immense opportunities for Romanian businesses and not only, and tech professionals. Marius was very impressed when he came from India, from the tech summit. However, entering and operating in this market requires a deep understanding of intellectual property rights, regulatory frameworks, and business practices. This is why we focus today on this topic, and we want to discuss about this. We are honored to organize this event in partnership with IP Helpdesk India, bringing your expert insights on how to navigate the Indian market, protect their innovations, and so forth. And also with the support of Euro Chambers, we thank them for their constant support. And let's start the webinar. We will start the workshop, sorry. We will start with the presentation of Miss Ankita from IP Helpdesk, and then we will also have a dedicated Q&A session at the end. So if you have some questions, please note them down. We'll discuss them, or if you want, you could send them through email, and we could just connect you directly to the speakers. Thank you.
Thank you for that. I'll just start by sharing my screen if I can. Just 1 second.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So I hope the screen is visible.
Yes, everything is visible.
Thank you. First of all, thank you very much to you, Anastasia, and to you, Marius, as well, for organizing this particular workshop. You know, I was really pleased to see during the Bangalore Tech Summit, where I had the pleasure of meeting Marius again, that Romanian companies are so excited about the Indian IT tech space. As you know, the Indian IT tech space as such is basically one that is evolving very fast. There's a lot of innovation that's been happening over here as well. Whereas in some countries, this progression of growth in the IT sector has been quite linear in terms of the kind of progress that we have seen over here in India. It's actually been quite quadratic in a way. So it's a really exciting time to be engaged over here in the Indian market as well. And I look really forward to your interest and to working with you in the future as well. Before I start with a brief couple of slides on what the help desk is all about, I'd also just like to mention that at the end during the Q&A session, I'll be sharing a QR code and a link to a Mentimeter survey. So there's only one question in this particular survey. It's a completely anonymous survey, I should add as well. And this survey is just something that allows us to assess the quality of our workshops. So it's on a scale of whether you enjoyed the workshop, whether you thought it was productive or not. So I would urge you to fill in this particular survey at the end during the Q&A session. So without further ado, what is the help desk? So the help desk is actually a project of the European Commission. In particular, it falls under DG Research and Innovation. So there are a couple of these kinds of projects that the European Commission does, and the main aim of these kinds of projects is to ensure the internationalization of SMEs from EU member states, such as Romania, as well as SMP countries. So there are a couple of these other kinds of programs as well. You might have heard of the Enterprise Europe Network. Of course, Marius and Arhipelago, of course, know EN, the Enterprise Europe Network, quite well. And the help desk is actually a sister project of EN in the sense that it also promotes the internationalization of these SMEs into different markets. And in our particular case, we're here in India. So as you can see in the figure, there are a couple of other help desk projects. There's one for Latin America, there's one for China. There's one for Europe, of course. There's one for Southeast Asia as well. And of course, we are the India IP SME help desk. So if you do have an interest in these other markets as well, we would urge you to also approach these like different help desks. And in case you are interested in reaching out to them, we'd be happy to provide you with the contact details, the email addresses of them as well. So the help desk really, what it does is it provides free and confidential services to SMEs from EU member states and SMP countries in India. So what we have seen over here in interacting with SMEs is that usually they don't have the bandwidth or the resources when it comes to assessing the intellectual property. So this could be patents, it could be trademarks, it could be copyrights, for example, it could be industrial design as well. And what usually happens is that these SMEs don't usually treat their intellectual property as an asset. And in fact, one of the first times that they are aware of the impact that IP can have when entering the Indian market is when an infringement has already taken place. So what we like to say is that it's quite easy to protect your IP at the initial stage when you are entering the Indian market, but it's quite difficult if you haven't already done so in case there's an infringement afterwards. So if there's an Indian company that is basically using your trademark or is using your copyright, if you have not protected that in the initial stages, it becomes very, very complicated. And so this is something that we are here to support you with. If you have any kinds of queries, we are here to help you with that. And the way the help desk works, as you can see on the screen, is through these three different modes. So the first one is the training, which is the kind of workshop that we are providing for you right now. So we can devote this on a particular sector. So for example, today's workshop is centered around the IT sector in India and what the intellectual property ecosystem is around that. The other thing that we do is we also have a dedicated helpline. So you can always call us and you can always email us questions with regard to your patents, your copyrights, how to protect that, how to apply for a patent, for example, in India, how much it would cost you to register a patent, what the timelines would be. And our aim is to get back to you within 3 working days. And as you can see, we also basically provide these services in 5 different languages: English, Spanish, German, French, and Portuguese. Unfortunately, Romanian is not one of them at this stage, but we sincerely hope that in the near future, the next phase of our project, which is going to start imminently, we will have those services as well. And of course, the last thing that we do have is a lot of information online on our website. I'll share a link of our website with you shortly as well. But what we do have over there, we have case studies, we have infographics, we have news and events. Particularly when it comes to these news items, it's devoted to particular cases, case laws which have been passed in India, whether it's in the Delhi High Court or in some other state government's High Court, when it comes to IP matters. As my colleague Ankita will also tell you, there's been a really proactive stance that's happening in India when it comes to protecting IP. So this is not only just for the protection of IPs of Indian companies in India, but also for the protection of international companies and their IPs in India as well. And there's also been a lot of developments, I would say, when it comes to helping judges and courts really understand what is an IP, how it needs to be protected, and so on. So without further ado, I'll just leave you with one other slide, which is that this explains essentially that we also work with other stakeholders within the entire EU ecosystem and the ecosystem of the Commission. So we actively support the European Patent Office by providing them with case studies, challenges reports on what has been happening in India, what are the areas of convergence and divergence when it comes to IP regulations for different sectors in India. My colleague will also explain to you, for example, that trade secrets, whereas they fall within the ambit of the IP ecosystem in Europe, do not fall within the ecosystem of IP in India. So, for example, if you were to be interested in engaging with an Indian party, say for the transfer of your technology or for the licensing of your technology, or if you were to find a particular partner or like distributor of your products or of your software in India, how you should structure a non-disclosure agreement. So this is really vital for protecting your IP at the initial stage. So if that is not done, as I mentioned before, that just adds to the burden of SMEs who want to enter the Indian market. And of course, as in Europe, as in India, SMEs form the entire backbone of the Indian economy. So it's not just the Tatas, the Adanis, the Ambanis over here in India, but it really is basically the small and medium-sized entrepreneurs and these kinds of enterprises in India. One last thing I will leave you with is that on our website, you can also find these two different diagnostic tools. So the first one will allow you and provide you with free, and again, as I mentioned, confidential advice. It's a kind of, I would say, a software where you can put in your information on whether you have a particular patent in what different kind of sector, and basically you will evaluate how much that filing of that patent would cost in India. And this is, of course, in euros. We also have an IP diagnostic tool which helps you as a business, as an SME, to evaluate how much you know about the entire ecosystem over here in India. And basically, what are the kinds of pitfalls or what are the kinds of challenges that you might encounter? So these are both self-evaluation, like diagnostic tools. Again, they're free, of course, and you can find them on our website as well. I'll share a link of that shortly as well. So without much further ado, I'm going to hand over to my colleague, Ankita, who is our IT expert for this particular session. Ankita, please go ahead.
Thank you, Gaurav, and thank you, Anastasia, for giving me opportunity and setting up the context as well. And really would like to start my session by highlighting two or three things that on 1st of February, budget was presented in India by Finance Minister, and major focus was also on AI, deep tech, and IoT sector. And the budget was actually threefold has been allocated in these areas. So you can see this is really an eye opener for us as well, because if government is focusing on these sectors specifically, it means it is not just for the big companies, they're also considering cooperation and collaboration with partners from outside India and SMEs in India, startups, as well as academia. Second thing that I've also read news that I think last month only, DigiGrow, that's a blockchain company in India, focusing on fintech solutions, they have secured two patents. One is in security aspect, another one is for authentication. It's again an eye opener for me because in blockchain and cryptocurrency and other sides, the misconception about India is that India is not taking these areas as in very proactive manner. There are hindrances from government of India side specifically, but when government is highlighting, it was published on the one of the government website that DigiGrow has secured these two patents. It means, yes, there's an opportunity for deep tech, IoT, blockchain again, if that has been put in a very relevant manner, which is important to fight against whatever problem statements are there. So I think in here also there are a lot of companies who are focusing around IoT, AI, deep tech. And one more aspect I would really like to highlight, that there is a strong focus from, again, Government of India to secure patents around 6G and 5G advanced. Although India has missed the bus again for 5G side, but yes, Government of India is again saying we need to secure at least 10% patents around 6G. It means, yes, there is a clear opportunity for, again, cooperation and collaboration for partners. And I'm sure that you guys have this kind of technology wherein you can seek the market access for the relevant opportunities for you. And hence comes the order of securing your IP as well and knowing more about the IP ecosystem of India. And there are certain updates which is actually very good if you hear them from Government of India side, because a lot of not just the small companies or even the big companies, they are facing difficulty earlier while securing patents in India. So first slide here goes for EU and India natural business partners. Yes, there are a lot of initiatives, not just from the government side, but from the industry sides also. A lot of PPP initiatives, has been initiated by industry partners who are leading various verticals, because ICT is everywhere. It has been integrated in all sectors, in all areas, and now identifying the demands. For example, the initiatives in Smart City Vision in India, they want to secure the relevant solutions. Earlier, they were looking for the solutions from just procuring them from outside, but now there's an opportunity. They are saying that if other companies are having relevant IP, they can come establish their sister concern over here in India, or maybe they brought their product over here in India, customize it and use for the India side for the relevant states, and hence can create the joint IPs as well. And Government of India is also giving subsidiary around it. Major focus again on the R&D side, on, as I mentioned, around the deep tech sector, then digital health, especially after COVID pandemic. There was a significant boost and pump to the money around this sector because of the vaccination and the fence industry going around this area. Because it's not just the vaccination or the drugs they're creating, but also the solutions which are actually based on the AI or around the cleaning side or maybe disinfectant. There's so many eye-opening things are happening around us, because recently I've heard that Philips in India, with an Indian partner, with a small startup, they have created a very good solution which is actually functioning around the IoT system, and they have implemented in a small lab in academia in India. So if these kind of solutions you have, and you can really look for the various opportunities while coming to India. Biopharmaceutical, although I know that ICT, we have the ICT leaders over here, but I've again put this sector as well, because again I've mentioned that it's not just India, so other countries are also taking part in it. So it's not just that you will get only the Indian market players over here, but the players from other sides, other jurisdiction as well. They are bringing their solutions, and it's a really a good opportunity to collaborate and cooperate with them and create the relevant solutions. Horizon 2020 Green Deal, because whenever we are talking about any sector, whether it is ICT, AI, or blockchain, we are also talking about the sustainability around it, or the clean tech related solutions. Even in the telecom sector, a lot of focus is around how to save the power and the creating the relevant sustainable solutions. So here is the Green Deal work program. So focus is on various areas, where in agri-tech or in the biodiversity or in the circular economy. And recent news is also that in India, Starlink has collaborated with one of the tractor manufacturing companies to create the relevant solutions for the agri-tech. But the solution is going to be focused around the AI. So they will create an AI-led solution which is going to be implemented in the agri-tech in India. Next slide, please, Gaurav. So tech trends. I really wanted to say that number is not so high if you will compare with the filings that happened in European Patent Office or in other jurisdictions. But yes, now there is a boost in filing from the companies who are in India, not just the companies who are actually they have their R&D sectors centers outside India and they are filing here on their name. But no, this number is actually more than 1 lakh patents which have been filed in earlier financial year. It's actually from Indian companies. So you will see that Indian companies are also focusing on IP. This is very important, because if they're respecting the IPs, so definitely whenever they're going to collaborate with you, there's going to be a fair and transparent deal around it. And again, the prominent sectors, if you see top 5 sectors wherein a lot of IP has been filed around AI, IoT, neurotech, and followed by the automation and e-commerce side as well. And so I have highlighted these points, especially around the India AI mission, because in that one, they are creating various skilled sector programs to create the awareness in not just in the startups or in the relevant stakeholders, but also bringing in solutions from academia to industry side. So a lot of collaboration opportunities. Why I'm highlighting again and again collaboration opportunities, because IP is also of no use if you'll not get the relevant opportunities in here. If you really see that yes, these are the opportunities lying around you, so you can really map that yes, if these stakeholders have relevant IP, present, then you can map your IP as well and create your business strategy followed by your IP strategy to the Indian market. And yes, there is again an deep tech fund has been created in budget 2025 by Government of India. If you have solution around it, you can again seek the relevant cooperation or the collaboration area in this one. Next slide, please, Gaurav. So IPV always says, yes, it is important to safeguard your interest, to secure the investment from various investors, to get the fair return on investment, whatever you have invested. But again, it's an tool or the asset to do the relevant bargain or create the right value proposition for your proposals as well in India. And it of course creates a healthy competition, because as I have pointed out earlier, that if the another partner is aware about the IP ecosystem and you have your IP, then it's very easy to deal with your partner and to talk with them in the right set of manner, that yes, I have this IP. Because sometimes what happens, that you have an IP, you have a technology, they have another technology, but the right set of mix or the relevant transfer of technology only can create the product which is actually can be implemented in the relevant sector in India. And then yes, diffusion of high tech, because in a lot of sectors, what's happening in India especially, a lot of startups are working on the AI or deep tech, not necessarily the big companies. Their big companies have already secured their patents or the areas wherever they want to lead verticals especially. But there are a lot of opportunities, or the companies are actually in startups especially segments, they are working with Government of India or with the industries as well, uh, especially in IoT or the deep tech sectors. And then skill set. So again, one of the prominent areas wherein you have the opportunity, because if you have the right skill set, then you can also work while skilling for the while helping even your stakeholders while skilling them, because that's also an important factor. You have the skilled manpower and you can come over here and actually set up and work with the relevant stakeholders in India while skilling them. I think it is going to be the bilateral cooperation sort of things, because we just don't see as only the business sense, because everyone needs to get the return on investment, whatever they are giving in terms of technology. But again, setting up the longer run goals, not just the short term goals for while focusing for any market. Next slide, please, Gaurav. So for Indian IP ecosystem, there is a national patent office. There are 4 patent offices are available in India in 4 metropolitan cities. In Indian IP umbrella, you can say patents are there, because generally India follows the same guidelines and the rules which are available in Europe Constitution, right? In the European Patent Office, they follow the same. Only a significant difference in India is that trade secrets are not covered under the Indian IP ecosystem. They are actually governed only the common law, not by any IP segment. Patents for technologies, trademarks for whatever brand names are there, copyrights are there. Along with the copyright, related rights are already available for the musicians or the people who are artisans, or they are working, you can say, in the motion pictures. So related rights are for them. Geographical indications, as in for society or whatever specifically originated product. And then plant variety and farmers right, that's for you can say for the people who, for example, berries, different kind of berries, who have created the GMOs or these kind of products, that's for them. Design, for design there are 2 types of things. Design, first is for only aesthetical look, but industrial design patent is already available if functionality is incorporated with the design. It means the functionality of the design is going to impact the working part or the working statement of your product, then it's going to be filed under the design patent. And then comes the semiconductor IC layout design. So layout design, because a lot of companies now, fab facilities are already going to be established in India. So a lot of companies are going to focus around the creating the layout of IC fabs. So for these chips, so there is law already in there wherein you can register your designs as well. E-filing is available in the patent offices, and then hearings also. If there is some cross communication with your attorneys or your legal representative, video conferences mode is already available. And IPO has been recognized, Indian Patent Office has been recognized as an international search authority. It is important because you can really save your money, because if the same facility, while filing for any patent application, if you are filing through patent cooperation treaty route, generally we suggest to the companies to save their money as well as the time, and for again to seek the longer term benefit, you should file your patent application under the patent cooperation treaty, wherein you will be able to safeguard the 31 months period of time. So it will really give you benefits to search for the relevant markets while securing your priority date while filing the patent application. So if you have filed through the Patent Cooperation Treaty route, you can select Indian Patent Office as your searching authority. So it will be lower in cost. And then now it has been in India, I mean, in this year only, they have added this provision. You can go for the expedited examination as well. So within 31-month period of time, you can really file the application for expedited examination now. And also in India, only in India, there is a provision of filing the provisional application. It means you can file your application without claims. You will get the 12-month grace period, wherein after 12 months, you can file your complete specification, including your claims as well. This provision is only available in India, but now Indian Patent Office has also amended in the terms that earlier the grace period, we say the grace period, but sometimes what happens, companies, especially the smaller companies, they tend to go with the investors and reveal majority of the information while going for the displays or the exhibitions or while dealing with the investors. So Indian Patent Office has amended this rule and say that if you have filed the provisional as well and you have disclosed all of your information in front of the investors, so you can just give the application in return that I have disclosed this particular information while I have only filed for the abstract as in provisional. I want to secure my application, so you will get the benefit of even getting the fact that yes, you have already disclosed the information, but yes, you can now file for the complete specification as well. So I think it's in the favor of the smaller companies, SMEs, and the startups, because the larger ones, they already know they have the means because they already done the research and generally frame the complete specification. But for the smaller companies, because they always seek to create the proof of concept first while working for the best method for the technology or the solution, and then they go with the results, and then they generally file for the complete specification. So please keep in mind, if you have already disclosed your information, so you can really avail this facility as well, that within 12 months of grace period, you can file. If you have disclosed, then only also you can file the complete specification. And then pendency, because now they have included the option of going for the expedited examination. If you have chosen that, then definitely your pendency is going to be down because they have hired more examiners as well. And then training of law enforcement. So earlier, Gaurav has mentioned about this, that there are a lot of judges who are they are sitting in the specialized courts. So Delhi High Court has been highlighted, or you can say designated as the specific court for IP, for dealing with the IP cases. So a lot of experts will accompany the judges while saying that okay, they will give their expert advice, then only judges will pass their whatever orders they need to pass, because earlier judges were not accompanied with the experts, they're not able to evaluate the technologies per se, what is going to be the implication if there is some validation or the infringement had happened. But now they're aware about the scenario that this is a particular technology, so how this technology is going to impact in a longer run. I'll give an example because this case had happened earlier. So there's one company who have created a solution for for safeguarding for the, you can say, regarding the infringement. This is regarding the infringement. So they have created a solution focus on the blockchain only. So there was a chip and a sensor on the top of the cork. So while if you are going to open the bottle, so there was a sensor who can really give the information, yes, this has been tampered, the top has been tampered. So for this one, another company, or Indian company, there is a question where we already have this kind of solution. It will, sensors are there, so once it is implemented, when it is has been activated, we can really tell you that this has been tampered. But the filing of the same, and what is the next innovation the another company has incorporated, because that data, I mean tampering data, they are able to produce and give the signals to the owner as well. The chip has been allocated in that manner to the owner of the same. So the experts, they are the one who have suggested no, this is not the same. So the longer an implication is that they are not infringing on the patent of the newer one, but there is actually an innovation around it. So this kind of thing is very difficult for judges to understand. But now, if they're experts, so they really can see that yes, this is the difference among the computer related inventions or the computer implemented inventions or the deep technology. Next slide, please, Gaurav. So I have pulled out these, you can say, few tech-related areas, because in patents we generally go for the process or the methods or the technology important aspect, CRI and CII, because again and again so many cases comes around CRI or CII. It means computer related inventions or the computer implemented inventions. It is also a very hot topic in European Patent Office, because it's only evolving with the case basis. So in CRI, CII, we say algorithms are there, very important and high level algorithms are there, but when they have been implemented on an existing hardware, then whatever tangible or technical effect they are bringing in, that has been considered under the patentability sector. But if you are not able to provide the clear tangible outcome for your product, then your patent application is going to be under question, a lot of examination. So that had happened in European Patent Office as well as in Indian Patent Office, because in CRI and CIA especially, a lot of infringement cases are also coming in India, and also in the validation, because like I've earlier mentioned, that blockchain, that sensor case. So similarly, recent case that happened, 2-3 cases that happened in this sector only. So and one of the company from Europe only, as a startup, they have said that our invention is actually, it doesn't have a novel hardware, but hardware also we somehow have created in a manner that it is giving the impact of being a novel hardware, and our software is already a novel software algorithm is very, I mean, that's the main crux of the entire technological solution. But when again the experts had compared the impact, so it's very difficult to bring in the tangible outcome. So what kind of efficacy or efficiency it is bringing in. So that matter has again gone for the European Patent Office, wherein they have already filed the patent application. And at that point, in EPO also, that patent is under question. So I always suggest that if you are bringing in your technology and you're considering that you have filed in your relevant member state, but until and unless if you don't have a clear picture in your jurisdiction, so please reconsider the claims. Please reconsider whatever value proposition you are bringing in with yourself to your relevant partners, if you're looking for partners in India. So please, again and again, we always suggest that, because guidelines always go with the case basis. Again and again, there are some changes are coming as per the rules and regulations, because now India is considering upon the AI Act. So what kind of guidelines they want to bring in, or the Data Act, Personal Data Protection Act. So all these regulations are also accompanying all these areas. So please keep an eye, and as we always create the relevant information or the case studies, so it's already available on India IP Helpdesk. Please go through them as well. And then comes a trademark. So trademark is generally, of course, for the brand name. Again, so we suggest that trademark is here is the least expensive. So whenever you are entering in Indian market, please try to file for the trademark first and then go for the patents. Trademark is the name which you're going to represent. Again, please see whatever relevant product you are bringing in here. So for that particular product also you can secure your trademark. And now India also follows the Madrid Protocol. Earlier, India was not part of the Madrid Protocol, but now as being India is a part of the Madrid Protocol, so in global database also you can search for the trademark. And rules and regulations are the same as for the trademark. It's a 10 years, for patent it's a 20 years monopoly, but you have to renew your patent application every year. Please keep in mind, because if you're not able to file your renewal fee, it goes for the Europe as well. So please always keep in check that whether you are paying the renewal fees as well. If not, then it is going to be very difficult while preparing the relevant value proposition. Copyright and related rights. So whatever you are creating, of course, it is copyrightable, but for the legal purposes, you have to register for the same. So whatever web designs or the manuals, whatever guides you are creating, please go for the copyright. Trade secret, I've already mentioned or highlighted in here that India, trade secret are not covered under any IP law in India, under common law only. But trade secret are very crucial because a lot of companies from Europe actually follows the trade secret as it is covered in Europe. But whenever you are drawing any NDAs also, please keep in mind whatever secret you are mentioning in there. So please put up a proper time frame to whom you want to give them, what particular secret you want to reveal in here. And also whatever is the chain of ownership, please track and trace that chain of ownership as well, because once you have signed the agreement or the disclosures with one of the party here, sometimes it happens that that party is also working with two other parties, right? And they generally see that if it has not been mentioned in the documents or in the agreement with you, so they generally tend to give, okay, so they consider as by default, okay, we can give this information to these parties as well because it has not been mentioned. So please always mention this aspect, that please don't disclose to any other party after this particular month or so, because SMEs are, they're not generally able to keep track of all this information. But if you have trade secret, if you're drawing any NDAs with them, so please in your agreement, please highlight all this information. And then industrial design, I've already highlighted that if the functionality is associated with the design, it will go under the design patent. If only the aesthetic aspect, it will go as per only for the design registration. Next slide, please, Gaurav. So the recent updates are actually in red. I've highlighted in patents. So earlier it was a scenario in India that for whomsoever companies or any stakeholder who have filed in India for the patent application, so they have to provide the working statement every year, that this is the working, it's actually that your technology patents actually in working mode. So annually they have to provide the information, but that has been scrapped now. After 3 years you can provide the information that yes, this working is already happening in. And this is very much welcome because I think 7 or 8 years, a lot of big companies are also fighting towards this thing that Indian Patent Office needs to change this one, because there's a lot of money, because they have to hire a local representative over here. They just check all data, whatever, because you have to supplement the data as well for the working of the patent or the technology. Then they file in an Indian Patent Office. But now it has been scrapped from there, so it's a very much welcome step. And then, of course, as I highlighted earlier as well, that grace period is there. But if you are giving in the Section 31 application form that yes, I have disclosed my application or my invention to one of the investors, so you will get the grace period of 12 months wherein you can file the patent application in the patent office. Trademark for yes, it's 10 years, and unregistered are nowhere welcome, so you have to register whatever IP is there. So we always suggest to file for the trademark or the copyright first, and then go for the patents, because patents is somehow it takes time as well as money. And also I've earlier pointed out that go for, maybe if possible for you, go for the examination authority as Indian Patent Office. Next slide, please, Gaurav. So CRI I've already highlighted. For the copyright, only difference is that in India it's 6 years after the death of the author, but for in India it's 60 years. In Europe it is 70 years. So 10-year difference is there. So, but generally it's only the artisans or the people who have the painting and the thing, they focus on the 70 years or 60-year things, or while focusing only for the licensing or other things. But generally the technology, whomsoever companies are in technology, they bother about majorly about the patents or the trademark scenario or the industrial designs. In India, it is grace period is actually provided for 6 months. And again, the same as the trademark, it's valid for the 10 years. Extension is available for the 5 years after the same. And in India, one important thing I would really like to highlight, that for the trademark, whenever you are searching for the filing, please, because India is now following the mandate protocol, please also search for the class, which class you're going to file in, because in classification, as per the usage, there is a difference in Indian scenario. So a lot of Indian trademarks are already available. So whomsoever is your local authority, or whomsoever you are giving the power of attorney to them, or your local representative, or the legal person. So please keep an eye in which particular class, as per the usage you are filing your trademark, because in India a lot of different classifications are available. Next slide, please, Gaurav. I've already highlighted this one. Next slide, please. This is well-known and non-traditional. In India, there is also scenario of non-traditional trademarks, because a lot of TKDL, traditional available knowledge, is more respected in here, and especially in the common society. So non-traditional trademarks are available. For example, the family business name. So they goes, they can really prove that they are existing from last 50 years or 60 years. It's very easy to, because also the market requirement they fulfill. But the well-known trademarks, for example, the trademark of Maruti, it's very easy. But what happened in cyber squatting happened in this scenario, in trademarks especially. So one of the kid actually he filed for the name for the Maruti.com, domain. So Maruti company actually fought the case with the kid that you have to give our domain back, because Maruti is our business. And again, what happened? So Maruti name, similarly in India, one of the oil company, they have the name of the Maruti, and they were also existing from the past 30 years in the Indian market. So it was a very difficult scenario even for the judges as well, while seeing that who is there from how many years, right? But they have to give the rights, so they have given the different domain. For the Maruti oil, they have given the different one. But for the Maruti, as for the, of course, in automobile, it's not just a name for the India, but it's a global name. So they have to give that under the Cyber Squatting Act. So they have to give back that domain. But Maruti also needs to compensate that kid who actually bought this domain from them. So if you're filing for the domain as well, so please keep an eye that whether your product name is already has been bought by someone else over here or not. Next slide, please, Gaurav. So all these things comes, more proactively when you have already filed for the IP, or when you have already integrated IP as a business strategy in your market entry, or while signing the documents. But first step, we always suggest that please also go for the landscaping. So whatever generally available databases are around, and whether it's in European Patent Office, whether it's in Indian Patent Office, please see whom, if all, please see at least a small landscape wherein whomsoever top 10 filers are there in your technology area. So it will really give you an an idea. So how to navigate the Indian sectors specifically, because a lot of smaller companies, sometimes big companies, they have collaborated with the SMEs or the startups under the projects, and then they are filing for the patents under a society name or something. So then it is very, very difficult to track and trace whosoever has filed IP or not. So we suggest to also go for the searching not just the patent databases, but also keeping an eye on the societies, for example, Bharat 6G Alliance, or they are the different societies or the business. You can say now the society is also focusing on the verticals, not just the business associations as in generic, but for 3D printing there is different one, for blockchain there is different one. So please keep an eye on these areas as well. Copyright also I've highlighted already. Design is also done. Yeah, next slide please. So this is just a screenshot of the search portals. So in passes from Indian Patent Office and European Patent Office. I'm sure you're aware about SPASnet. So please always, whenever you are thinking about entering in any domain or any market, please take a good look around the available patents filed or not filed, or also for the academia, because sometimes academia are more proactive in filing the patents with accompanying with other individual inventors or in the name of the inventors with the big companies. Next slide, please, Gaurav. So we always say comprehensive IP asset assessment, because earlier IP assets, we generally think that IP what's going to give us, but nowadays IP is not just as an asset, it's also a major tool while going for bringing your value proposition on the table, or even with the help of a single IP, you can draw your complete agreement or the collaboration with the companies. So please evaluate and please validate also, because sometimes we do have an IP, but if you're not validating it enough, that whether it's existing, similar kind of thing is existing in another geography, or whether we can really implement it in another jurisdiction, that's also in question. Please keep an eye on it, and always seek not just the patent but also for the other forms of IP, because not necessarily patent needs to be important there, but if you're only the trade secret, how you can, using the trade secret, you can go for the different IPRs or maybe a new patent application as per the requirement of the jurisdiction. Monitor for the infringements, because getting to get the right return on investment, and while not infringing others or not getting infringed also. So you have to monitor what's happening around it, because in rules and regulations, as not many changes are happening. It's very dynamic structure right now, because if new companies are coming, they want to set up R&D sectors in India, but government of India, on the other hand, they are saying that you have to have the joint IP. So if they really want to go for the joint IP, so it's not necessarily everyone has the right set of terms and conditions available. So you have to be ready with the right set of terms and conditions as well from your side. And then protect your trade secrets. Yes, that's very crucial. Next slide, please, Gaurav. So I think this was the last slide from my side. So yeah, that's it from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Ankita, for your presentation. It was very engaging. In the meantime, we had a question addressed to us in the chat. Maybe we could discuss it, or if not,
Yes.
Perhaps I can take the first part of that question. It mentions whether we have a template of an NDA on our website. We don't have a template of an NDA per se, but we do have points to consider when considering trade secrets in India. So we have two blog entries. The first one deals exclusively with how to protect trade secrets, particularly in regard to NDAs in India. And the second one is basically talks about the confidentiality obligations with regard to employees. Say if you have an Indian partner in India and they have employees and they are privy to that confidential information. So even after they were to leave employment of that particular Indian employer, whether those kinds of confidential information of yours will be protected or not. When it comes to blockchain, I think Ankita has already covered some of the topic, but I will leave it up to her to comment further on that.
No. So I think question was very relevant, and yes, rightly pointed out that this scenario actually happened in various jurisdictions. So it's a very sophisticated method, although yes, but in India it's still in infancy. I mean, so as we again and again say, NDAs are very important aspect. In India, still IP commercialization, big companies are doing it. So smaller ones, they are not so aware. They goes maybe in consortia or maybe taking help from others, but as pointed out in here that using inflating using the NDAs, and then after doing the assessment using the toolkits and then inflating the value of your assets, in India it is right now, it's not happening. As an expert I can ensure this thing, but we say because this toolkit, we whatever we have, it's not so sophisticated. It's only for the basic usage, only for the basic usage. Because again and again, whatever product you have, then only you can draw the right set of, you can say, agreements as per the requirement of you. Because if your domain, if your product is actually for the language translation, so you have to see, I mean, you have to draw different terms and conditions, right? You have to evaluate as per the availability of the similar kind of products in India, what are the rules and regulations around it. Sometimes in India rules and regulations are very simple, but sometimes it's very strict. So you have to see really what you need to eliminate or what you need to again need to add in there. Similarly, from different kind of products, because sometimes even in these kind of products, government of India vision is like for more for societal aspects. So whatever, if one society has created or one of the research society from under government of India has created, so they have to work with a big company to create a product which is actually relevant for masses. And so they have to provide that technology, they have to give that technology for the mass usage. So it's not going to be very inflated rate. So again, depending on the product, you can say what its value and how it's going to, you can take it in future. Or more insight from you, I mean, also welcome, because again, you are the creator of the technology, and again we say IP laws also evolve. I mean, along with the case studies, along with the product that's coming in different jurisdictions, especially.
Okay, does anyone have more question to Ankita or to Gaurav?
Okay, check.
If you change your mind, you can also write an email to us, and we will redirect it to the Ankita and Gaurav. If not, let's scan the QR code or to access the link that Gaurav sent in the chat and fill the survey, please.
But is it work? Because it's like stuck on my screen here.
Sorry, not able to hear you.
The question is, it works?
It's work, but it's too technical in nature, I should say. So what I heard, because Danish Patent Office, they also have similar kind of tool for technology licensing and others, right? Sort of marketplace. So, but in the end, after 7-8 years, they have to shut it down because there was no proper responses. Although IP is already in the marketplace, but there were no responses for the evaluation and others. So I think you need to have good IP in place, then only. Using IP for such a high level, it's very, very, very much. I mean, I'm just wondering that who want to use it. Seriously, I mean, for hacking and all these things. So even big companies, what I say, as in, I'm also an IP standards expert. So in that one, if you say for 5G, 6G, big companies are fighting, and they already have a closed loop around it. So it's very difficult to go and really see. But yes, in future, yes, it's very relevant, because if we are going, everything is in digitization mode, and we are keeping all of the IB in a place, and similarly in these kind of tools. So yes, we need to have similar kind of mechanism in place. I mean, how to protect it. So, yeah, there's a requirement. Yes, definitely it's there, but it's a very good idea for future, you should say.
Also, Gaurav, if you can share with us the link with the Menti, the presenter view, the questions, so we could know when to go further with the questions. Thank you.
Perfect. Yes. I'll share the presentation as well for you and for your members as well. We'll also drop our email addresses in the chat, so that in case anyone is interested to reach out to us directly with a question, then please feel free to do that as well.
Yeah, and I would like to highlight one more aspect. So, as I mean, around this question only, because now, especially Indian Patent Office, they are seeking feedback from the experts, because as I again and again pointed out, based on the cases and the technology, everything evolves around it, even the rules and regulations. So, even Patent Office is asking from the experts or the companies, they are inviting all of the relevant stakeholders, whether it's academia or from the outside as well. So they are seeking views that what can happen in future around the areas, whether it's AI, whether it's in cybersecurity, or whether it's in the 5G, whatsoever. So they are seeking the, even for the AI guidelines, they have done around 5-6 stakeholders meeting. They're seeking various views. So I think it's always good to be in track or in the sync with what other patent officers are doing it. So if you can provide the suggestions to us as well, what can happen in future, what's a suggestion for the future, we can also incorporate in our case studies, or we can pass it to IP offices as well for consideration in future. Yeah.
Thank you, Ankita. Okay. Next, if anyone has more question, maybe, or wants to add something. Yes, Marius is suggesting me to say hi to Mattia. Good afternoon.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Yes.
Yes, yes. Hello.
Hello, everyone. Well, nice to meet you, Anastasia.
Nice to meet you too.
Marius, nice to see you. Ankita, Gaurav, thank you very much for your intervention, and sorry for the delay, but I was busy with another meeting. And sorry, I've seen your email just now, Anastasia. So apologies. And well, I haven't much to say actually, but I would like to thank Arhipelago, Marius, Anastasia, and all the participants for the participation, of course, and for this opportunity. It's always a pleasure to collaborate with such good partners and collaborators. And Gaurav and Ankita, of course, thank you very much for your time and your presentations. And yeah, looking forward for the next webinars that we can organize together. And I just want to mention, if I don't know if Gaurav or Ankita already done it, but the help desk has been extended for other 2 years. So we are starting the new phase in 2 days. So there will be more space for collaboration among all of us. Thank you very much.
Thank you too. That's great news.
Yeah, it is.
And also, I would like to add that Arhipelago is planning another trade mission to India. I was so impressed at my last visit to Tech Summit in Bengaluru that, and I'm truly convinced that I have to show to other Romanian European companies the potential in IT collaboration field. So I would like to to keep in touch with those projects which are complementary. And I see that we are active agents in this European-India collaboration. Thank
when
you
it will
for
be?
being
Do
here
you have already
today.
the timing of the mission? Do you know the dates already, or?
We have to check the exact dates. In fact, will be a tour of India. Beside Bengaluru, we have to visit Mumbai as well.
Okay. So maybe we can organize a couple of trainings, not just one. Could be an opportunity. But yeah, that's great news. Thank you very much, and of course for the continuous support and collaboration. It's really helpful for us as well. So thanks a lot.
Thank you everyone for all the interventions and questions and participants and partners. It was wonderful working with you. And Gaurav, if you have more comments regarding the Menti link, please.
So I think the Mentimeter surveys worked quite well. We have 9 responses so far. But in any case, I'll share a link to the survey with you as well with the presentation. So this evening, I should be able to share both of them, a copy of the presentation with you as well as a link to the Mentimeter survey.
Okay. Thank you again, everyone, for participating, and have a good rest of the day.
Thank
Likewise,
you.
thank you
You
so
too.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.